All right. You know how it goes. My co-host is back, Connor Mantz, back on the CITIUS Mag podcast, uh, getting ready for the Chicago Marathon, which you've already been pretty vocal about calling your shot. You're going after the American record. It feels sort of like inevitable given the fact that you ran 2:05:08 on the Boston Marathon course, which is faster than like the American record, but you got to get it for sure on a record eligible course. But how are we feeling? It's race week at this point.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, the taper is always a little weird because like you start being like everything doesn't feel good, but then you start running and you're like, oh, everything feels super normal and familiar. So, um, yeah, things are pretty good as far as I can tell.
I guess that's like the one thing that people kind of like to point out is like, was Connor hurt at any point in the lead up? Because you tend to do have like that clutch up moment for races because there was maybe a little bit of an injury in the lead up to like a race. I think this was the case before trials in 2024. Obviously, before Houston half, and it's sort of like Connor needs a little bit of adversity before the big race, but judging off of your Strava, smooth sailing this build.
Yeah, things I've been healthy for the most part throughout this entire build. I had like I twisted my back funny while lifting one day, and that led to like a week of just my back hurt. And then for like 3 weeks after New Haven, I had a blister that like got worse and worse. Actually, it wasn't really a blister; it was just like a nice gash through my toe.
Ugh.
um, but I got it super glued together, and it healed up for the most part. It hasn't been open for about 2 weeks now, so hoping that stays shut through the rest of through at least 26.2 miles on Sunday.
Not actually super glue though, right?
No, it was actually super glue. Like
Really?
there was like a different thing. I went to some athletic trainers at the U.S. ski and snowboard thing, or I should say physios. And they were going to use a material that's like super glue that's more meant for your skin. That's like specific for when skiers or snowboarders cut their legs open from like a ski or snowboard or something. And yeah, it sounded like pretty great stuff. I was like, awesome, do that on my toe. Like that's gonna heal it quickly. And they like couldn't find it. And so the next day I went to a different athletic trainer, and he was like, oh yeah, let's just use super glue.
Oh wow.
So I just literally like had a little thing of super glue and just super glued it together.
All right, so it's been a one-time like application, or it's like, do you think like you'll have to just out of precaution re-up before the race day?
I probably should. I'll go talk to somebody, but yeah, that was like the most painful. Like that and the back were the only things, and like I kept running through them both. It was just very painful on my toe. Um, but that
Which
just
toe is it?
it's my big toe on
On the right or left?
my right foot.
It didn't like lead to like a bloody shoe or anything, did it? Or did it? And you had?
Like every time I ran, my sock was bloody
Oh wow.
for like 3 weeks. Actually, like from New Haven, like I just got really bad blisters. I think this is just something that happens to me everywhere I race. If it's even slightly humid, I will have like bloody feet by the end of it. But my toes are all like my toes are pretty messed up as it is. More information than people want to know, but like my like second toes on both feet are like bent like this. And so I get like these nasty blisters, and like it's I don't know. You run somewhere humid, the blisters like get really bad, and then they pop, and then just blood everywhere. So
I mean, what was it? The famous Kurt Schilling in baseball with the bloody sock, I guess, pitching for the Boston Red Sox. So like this is
oh, really?
you're looking for your bloody sock or shoe moment here in Chicago, but we're hoping that it doesn't get to that point. But all in all,
Yeah, hoping that
workouts.
humidity's low.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I mean, we were talking about this before we started recording. Have you started checking the weather?
Yeah. So I had to make a deal with myself so I wouldn't overthink it. I can check it once a day. Um, I checked a few days ago, I was checking on like multiple websites. Like it was like both Apple and I can't even remember the other one, and they were like completely different. Like Apple was saying it was going to be pretty warm, and the other one was saying it was going to be pretty cold and windy. So I was like, do I want like still no wind and hot, or windy and good temperature? And I was like, well, I can't change it either way. So what do I need to worry about? There's nothing I can really change in my training now. But when I checked today, it looked like pretty nice. It was like mid 50s at the start and probably low 60s by the finish. So a little more humid than I would like, and a little windy, but less windy than both other times I ran in Chicago. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I feel like the one thing to note that's different is just sort of like it's been now almost like a year and a half of just heat training has just become a staple for your whole entire buildup. I mean, there hasn't been a training block that hasn't incorporated sauna suits or just straight up time in sauna after all of your workouts or easy runs. So the heat acclimation and heat training is there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you kind of have to do it now. I feel like everyone's trying to do every little thing to get that much better, and you do it regardless if it's going to be hot on race day or not, because there's just I mean, not any big benefits, but a lot of little benefits that can help you get there. So, or get to be a little bit better.
Overall, I guess this training block, picking up, off of Boston Marathon. Yeah, I mean, you ran the 10K at the pre-classic, which I remember when we chatted afterwards, you're just like, all right, that's my sign to just now start to get back to the roads. And like, it didn't go as well as you had hoped. And then the marathon training block started shortly thereafter that. But what are the overarching lessons that you took away from the Boston Marathon, where you finished fourth, just off the podium, but it was just sort of like a big confidence builder for sure, like a exclamation of just sort of like the training works, and like you're seeing the potential that you have on the global stage. And so now you've got to kind of, you're looking to replicate that in Chicago, where it's bound to be faster too.
Right. And I think the biggest thing I took from Boston, there was a few things. The biggest thing was confidence. Because it was like I believed I could be up there. I believed I could be fighting for a podium spot and even close to a win. And it just didn't happen in that New York build. I think the build was great for New York. I just think when running got tough in the race, I kind of chickened out a little bit. And I think I made some little mistakes that ended up being bigger mistakes mid-race. But it was nice. Like, Boston was like, okay, like, what I'm doing is working. I'm not in this, I don't know, before New York, I felt like I told everybody, like, I'm in great shape. And at Boston, I'm like, I'm in the same shape, And I feel like that was nice because it was validating. It wasn't like I was, like, blowing smoke or anything. It was just, no, I was actually I actually was ready, and I think Boston kind of showed that. However, it was, I think there was another lesson I learned at Boston was, I think I tried to be a little tactical the last few miles, and then like make a huge move at 1,000 to go, and it didn't drop any of those guys. And I look back now and I'm like, well, we were really closing on John Career, so next time I'm in a race, I'm just gonna keep pushing, and I'm not even gonna like think about I need to do this to beat these guys. I'm just gonna think about just get to the finish line as fast as possible. And I kind of used that in Boulder, and I thought it helped me there. But other than like those things, Boston was kind of hard afterward. I don't know if I talked to you about this last time, but like I didn't get the post-Olympic blues. Like the Olympics ended, and I was like, sweet, like let's go to New York, like let's go to the next race. New York ended, I'm like, let's go to the next marathon, and it ended up being Boston. And I didn't feel like this, like, I don't know, like this like letdown feeling. And then Boston happened, and it was like I finished a race where I did almost everything. Well, I did for how I wanted to run the race and the plan beforehand. I did everything right, and I was like, well, is everything right? Only fourth place. Like it was kind of like this like letdown. Like I thought the day I do everything perfect, I'm gonna win a race. Um, so the few like the I don't know the 3 weeks, 4 weeks after Boston, it was hard to like mentally like revamp and just be like I'm gonna race another marathon this fall and go for the record. And it was just kind of hard because it was like I felt like I just had the perfect race.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so that was like
And I think
my letdown.
the other thing too is just sort of you had a very public build. I feel like in the lead up to Boston, where it was Houston was like, a big sort of showcase of your fitness of like what could be now. Just sort of then from there, I think it was like 2.5, 3 more months of training, and if you
Right.
stayed healthy, plus then you ran faster at NYC Half, and so like there were these moments along the way that it was like, oh wait, we knew that something big was going to happen in Boston, and then this time around, it's a little bit different. There are races that you ran this summer. There was Boulder Boulder. There was Beach to Beacon, the 20K championships. So what makes this build sort of, but it's not sort of like the half marathon that like captivates everyone's headlines and all that stuff. But, I mean, you were stacking fitness from one build to the next. So how are those two different?
Yeah. I mean, it is hard comparing them because, yeah, I would have rather just had two really good half marathons than a few good 10Ks and a good 20K. Um, and I don't know. There's a lot I wish I could have done differently. Maybe like race wise, but the races I wanted to do were either too far to travel to or too close to Chicago, where the risk wasn't worth it. And so yeah, this build has definitely been different in that sense. Like I didn't get like New York City Half was a huge confidence booster for me in preparation for Boston because New York City Half is pretty hilly.
Mm-hmm.
There's some steep downhills, there's some steep uphills, and it's a great prep for the Boston Marathon. I mean, the 20K was kind of flat. Beach to Beacon, I mean, it's kind of rollers at both those races. You're not really ever running completely flat. But I do think there was some good confidence to come from those. I think the 10K at Beach to Beacon was good because I pretty much tied my PR. Like,
Yeah.
they round up to the next second on the road. So I ran 27:26, but it was probably 27:25 point something. So I tied my track PR on the roads, and that was a nice feeling, especially after the way Prefontaine went. Boulder was a good confidence boost because it was running through the line, even from like a mile and a half out. I wasn't focused on. I wasn't complacent. I was very much like I'm just gonna run through the line no matter what, and so that was a really good confidence for me. And then 20K, I had a goal beforehand, just kind of a process goal. I had a bad attitude heading into that race. Just I didn't really want to do 20K again. It's just a tough course, and I had never ran very fast there. But this last time, I think like I made a little process goal of once I hit there's a left turn at like 1.5 miles left or something like that. And I was like, once I hit that, I'm just gonna go, and I'm just gonna like push really hard. And looking at going off my GPS watch, I think I ran like a 4:17 average for that last 1.5 miles, and that was pretty comforting and encouraging because it was like I was running decently fast, and then I closed sub 4:20 pace for 2.5 miles, or 1.5 miles, and so it's like okay, like I'm in a good spot where even if maybe I'm not feeling the best, I'm not tapered. If a move is made, I can match a move, and I can get down to like really fast pace and be okay and still finish strong. So
When you said before that, you said that you were in great shape in the lead up to New York, and then you would tell people you were in the same shape, leading into Boston, and then it was obviously validated by the performance. How do we feel about this one? Like better shape than Boston?
I'd say I would hope so. I mean, we'll find out on Sunday, but Workouts have gone very similar. However, this time I've been staying at over 7,000 feet. Doing a lot of my easy runs up here in Park City. Probably almost all my easy runs are about 6,000 to 7,000 feet is where I'll start. And then I've ran a little bit more mileage than I did Boston. I think for Boston I had 3 weeks at like 125, and this one I think I had 6 or 7. I'd have to look back on it at 125 or higher. And so I've done it's not a ton more mileage, but it's probably an average of 3 or to 5 miles more per week. And so it's just a little bit more. So I would hope I'm faster, but we'll find out on Sunday.
Yeah. Do you feel like you were digging as deep and pushing as hard in the workouts this go around? Because I mean, there's part of it was like you had Clayton was further along in his build for the World Championships, and so like it helps because he's more fit and he's able to probably like hang, when you're still a couple weeks behind in sort of your own sort of marathon training block. So that kind of helps compress the gap a little bit, but you're still just much further ahead than him. Like, how did you feel about just sort of like the efforts and workouts? Like, this feels like it was one of the buildups where because you were solo for this race, like at your level, Coach Eystone probably had to let you off the leash a little bit more.
Yeah. A little bit. I think it was obviously nice having Clayton there for, he was, I don't get Clayton. Sometimes it seems like he just, he goes from his marathon back and then he just is like, okay, now I'm going to get better every week till I get to my race. And, I don't know, for me, I feel like I'm, at this, my slope is a lot more shallow than Clayton, less steep than Clayton's. And Clayton's just has this very steep slope until his race day. And so, it was good for me having Clayton there. And we had some really good workouts together. Casey actually helped me out too. And it was kind of cool to see. I don't know. I don't know if I was working harder or working less hard in certain workouts, but it was nice that during certain parts of the build I had people that were helping push me. Well, usually Clayton, it seems like, it isn't until about 3 weeks to go. He'll have 1 or 2 random weeks where he's with me in the build, and then it's he catches up at 2 to 3 weeks to go, and then he's neck and neck with me and everything. Which is both frustrating and funny. I mean, we're just different athletes. I start out here and he starts out here, and then by the end we're both up here. So, it was. I don't know. I think certain things did feel easier this go around, and certain things were harder. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question very well.
Yeah, what was hard?
I feel like there were just some workout weeks where I'd realize what I ran the last build, and I'd be like, I have to beat that, and then I think it was like a 2-week thing or a week thing where I started almost racing my previous, this is the best pickup I've ever done in a long run. This is the best tempo I've ever had. This is the best whatever. And I was comparing too much. I was comparing with myself. I realized, sometimes you compare with other athletes. And that's, I obviously try and stay away from that in training. I just know what works for me. And I don't need to compare to what Clayton or Casey or anybody else in the group is doing. But then I didn't realize I had I was talking to the sports psychologist about it a few weeks ago, and he was like, you have an unhealthy comparison issue with yourself. And I realized that was a big issue I was having. I was looking at my workouts I did this workout before Boston, and I'd be just cherry picking, this is my best workout before this build. Oh, and we're doing it again this time. Well, I did this same workout or a different workout at this build, and it was, I don't know, I'd look at my best set of 2-mile repeats and my best set of 3-mile repeats and my best tempo and my best PMP, and I was like, why am I not better than all of my best in the past? And it was it was just a bad mentality. I don't know why I was doing that for like a week or two. Um, but
When
yeah,
did you stop?
what?
When did you stop doing that?
Like it was like I was only doing it for a week or two, so I stopped doing it probably just over 3 weeks ago. It was like the first meeting
Okay.
with the sports psychologist, so and that was about 3 weeks ago. So I'd already noticed it was not good for me, but then when he said something, he's like, "You have an issue with comparison." It was that kind of like hit hard because it was like, "No, I don't. Like, I don't compare. I'm not comparing myself to other people's workouts." He's like, "No, you're comparing yourself to your own workouts. Like, that's still unhealthy. You don't go into workouts trying to race them." And I was like, "Oh, you're right. I don't know why that was a thing for like a week or two." And it was like when coach was in Tokyo, so that might have
So
been it.
not to feed into that comparison thief of joy, who the sports psych tried to get to cut out of that habit. But like now reviewing the whole training block, how many of those, the tempos and all that stuff, like how many of them stacked up better this time around?
I think quite a few. I think like as a whole, like take out those 2 weeks. It's funny. The 2 weeks I was comparing were like
That's when it went bad. Yeah.
when it was really bad. Um, and I think it was because coach would like tell us the workouts for the week, and I'd be like, "All right, I got to do this." But I think as far as like the longer stuff went, this was probably a better build. With, like the longer workouts. Some of the shorter workouts, like the 800s and stuff, it was pretty comparable. I wasn't. I don't know. There were some workouts where I early in the build, like before Beach to Beacon, where it felt, or maybe it was before New Haven. I did some 800s that like I remember just felt like so easy. I was running I think like sub 2 for them, and it was just two
That's the
of them.
one where you told me that like you showed up and you didn't tell anyone, but you were gonna rip it, and they just like it was the 1600s and 800s, right? Like that
It was a
workout.
different day. There was a
Oh,
different
okay.
day, but that day too. That day too. That
Yeah,
that day is another day I had a comparison issue, but more so with the training partners. Um, but no, it was. I think it was like we did a mile and then I think 3/8, and I think my last two were like 158 or 159 or something. But I felt like I had like a ton left. Like I was running that, but I felt like I was just jogging it.
can
And
you, I guess, explain that to the average listener who's just like what data points do you get out of like nailing these fast 800s at the end of a workout, like that will help you for the marathon? Is it to basically like know you have the wheels to cover the big moves?
that's exactly it. A lot of people like to say it's so that so that 4:45 pace feels easy when you're running sub 4 pace in workouts. Um, but for me, it's just that confidence of okay, let's say a guy like I mean I've heard John Cruz going out really fast. I'm probably not going to go out with him. I'm not going to go out with him if he goes out as fast as I've heard. But he made some hard moves at last year's Chicago Marathon. He made a really hard move at Boston, and I want to be. I don't know if I need to match that move if I'm ever going to win a major, but I definitely need to be able to run like a really fast pace, and then be back like get back down to a fast marathon pace. And so, in my mind, you need to run some really fast, hard like paces just to feel good to match these moves. Now, if I was just trying to go for time only, and the whole thing was all about time, maybe I wouldn't need to run these fast 800s. But when you know there's prize money, there's pride, there's places you're trying to place really well, that's when I feel like I need to run fast 800s.
Okay, so let's start to kind of preview a little bit of Sunday's race. Where is your head at in terms of the approach where it's like, yes, you've said it's an American record attempt, but is that a run for the time and seeing where you land among the people you're placing against? Or then is it, hey, that American record may come if I just race that potential second pack of people who are not going for the world record?
Right. That's a great question. I think I think that first 20 miles, I'm going to be working with whoever. And even probably 20, hopefully 24 miles, I'm working with people. But then, somewhere between the last 10K to the last 2 miles, it's going to be a race, like, with whoever's around me. And I'm going to hopefully, we never know how these races play out, but hopefully I'm going to see people in front of me, and I'm going to catch them, and I'm going to be focused on, I need to catch, and whoever, and place as high as I can. That's kind of how I see it going down. That's how I see this race playing out. Is I'm in a pack for 18 to 20 to 24 miles, and after that, I'm hawking down people.
So setup wise, you're not going to have your own pacemakers?
I will, but I'm preferring that that there's a group with that pacemaker.
Okay.
I would much rather run in a group for that than just go off me in a single pacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
Just, it's easier to be like, I'm competing against these guys and we're all going for a pace than to just be like, all right, here's one guy who might be a little inconsistent with pacing, or he might not be, that I really have to trust. So hopefully there's a pack that goes at the pace I want to go at, but we'll see.
We talked about this because you and I were working on like a separate project in the lead up to Chicago, and so we were checking in. But did you successfully recruit Grant to pace? Like, who's pacing?
No,
Who's your pacer?
It's a guy named Titus Chariot.
Oh, okay.
He ran 205 this year in Tokyo. So he'll be my pacer.
Gotcha. All right. I thought we were going to go for like an all-American, all-star cast around you.
That'd be great. Jared Ward was thinking about it. He actually was getting like really fit pretty quickly. And it was kind of fun to see like him just like turning on the afterburners and training, and just like he's working his tail off. But then I was like, honestly, Jared, like it'd be great to have you, but maybe you might want like he started pacing Casey in some workouts, and it was like, okay, maybe you should go pace Casey, because I don't think Casey has a pacer for him. And
Yeah.
but it would have been fun to have Jared. I don't know if he's fit enough to run the pace I want to run for 30K. And
That's what I was going to say. I was like, is Jared volunteering for half?
yeah, that's what he said. He'd get me through half. And
That's what I thought. What's the hot goss right now on the front end of the race? Like, John Career threw out in a couple interviews months ago, I guess in the lead up, that he wants to take a shot at the world record. Now, the world record is 2 hours and 35 seconds, I think, right? Like
Yeah.
Kelvin Kiptum from 2-3 years ago. That's not easy. You throw in Jacob Kiplimo, who also just ran a great debut at the London Marathon, finished second, and he's someone who has a half marathon world record. And
right.
when you see how fast he runs over half, you think, all right, he's got the makings of a really good marathoner, and now you're putting him on a fast course with some good competition. But what is the buzz around what those guys might be doing up in the front?
I've heard they're going through halfway in 60-30.
And you're like, no thanks.
Yeah. It sounds very exciting until you blow up and you run like 2:12, and then you're like, great, I ran a great 30K. I helped the other guys run a really good marathon, but I ran my slowest marathon, so that's I don't know. It sounds really fun, but
So you're realistic, and you're like, that's not the smart way for you to run a good race.
Yeah. I think my chances of like leaving happy, leaving satisfied with the result go down if I go out that fast.
I like that you have already pumped the brakes on it, because like maybe younger Connor 2-3 years ago goes into it being like, okay, no, but you still take the swing and you pay the price. So then,
and there will come a day where I take those big swings again, but this just isn't it.
Yeah, I've heard of just sort of like through Clayton's discussions of just how appearance fees and contracts for these major marathons work. Sometimes it's like you're also risking just sort of like losing out on a reduction if you underperform because of a dumb mistake like that. So totally get it. So then if that's not what you're going to be handling. Then it just sort of does flip where when the entries came out for this and the field was announced, when I looked at it and I expressed this to you, I think before, I was like, all right, like Joffrey Camour is on there and like is someone who probably has no business also going after that world record time or that fast. He's more sort of like in the wheelhouse of, you know, after Boston, your group.
Yeah.
So like there are going to be multiple guys, and then there's, you know, some Ethiopians and some other Kenyans who don't have like the shiny win of a major on their resume, but will fall somewhere in that, you know, 204 to 207 range that you can cling on to. So like, who in your head are you looking at like, hey, if they're showing up in form, that's who I think could be around me?
Yeah. So yeah, Camour, he's the big one. I mean, he's consistent. That's one thing that I look at and I'm like, you know, he's somebody that even on a bad day, he blows up at 25 and he jogs it in. Like at New York last year, I don't know what his last mile was, but I think it was like 5:30 or something. Like, I think I made up 50 seconds on him in the last, from like 40K to the end. He still beat me by 10 seconds, but like, I was catching him. And then, but he's consistently good. He's consistently up there. So he's definitely someone that comes to mind. Sabrian Katat, I think it's Sabrian. CY, you know, BRIAN or something like that. He was with me at Boston for 26 miles, almost 26.1 miles, him and Simbu. So they just both blew by me. I see him as somebody that would be really good to run with, but I could see him thinking, career was only 18 seconds ahead of me at Boston. Why don't I go after him? So I could see him thinking about going for that. But I hope he's there. Bashir Abdi maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out faster. So there's a few guys, and then there's is it Muhammad Essa? Is he in that?
Yeah, 204.39 is his PB.
Yeah, I could see him going with my group. He's pretty good. He's very consistent. He's usually top 3, top 5 guy in majors that he's raced. There's somebody else.
Philemon Kiplimo is a 204.01 guy. Well, I mean, if we want, you're looking at, you know, revenge on Cyprian Kotut. I think Daniel Abeno is looking for revenge on you.
He probably is. He's a guy that I hope goes with me, but he might just go with career. He's fearless. Like when we ran Boulder, he went out hard. Like when he made his move, he was gone. And like if he hadn't blown up, obviously
he's a world championship silver medalist in the 10K, and I feel like he just, because there was like that controversy last year, he fell at the Kenyan trials at the pre-classic, didn't get selected for the world championships, and it sort of feels like he quietly made his like transition over to the roads and like runs 206 in his debut, but the talent is there for him to probably try and race those front guys. But if he's not feeling up for it, then like he probably ends up in your pack.
Oh, I hope so. I've also talked to Rory Linkletter quite a bit, former Coug, and he thinks he wants to go after the Canadian record.
Cams.
Yeah.
Which is what, 207?
No, it's 205.36.
Oh wow. Okay, so then he'd want to be right with you.
Right. So we've been chatting quite a bit. Which is helpful. I mean, we ran at BYU for a couple years together, and I've known him since I was a freshman in high school. So we've known each other for a long time. So Rory is somebody that, I might be running a lot of the race with, which would be, I think, very helpful. And then I've heard that Alex Masai and Wesley Kiptu are also going to run pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to have plenty of bodies around you, it seems like. I
should. Now, we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, everybody wants to talk big, and then, you know, I think in my last time doing Chicago, we heard that they were going to go out at 204 pace or 205 pace or something, and we were going out at 2:06:44 pace in my pack, and we were 10 seconds back for them, and we were 27 seconds slow through 5K. So sometimes people talk big, and then they they race differently.
That's the thing about just I go to them because like I have to, like the marathon press conferences beforehand, but it's like everyone's lying to your face. Everyone says like they had the best build or they didn't. That's why I appreciate, you and Clayton being open books about like your whole entire training, but you just never know with some of the international runners.
Yeah. Sisalema is probably the most honest guy though. I don't know if you remember before Boston.
Oh yeah,
I've been hurt.
He told you. Yeah.
He told me individually, and then he like said it in the press conference like right after. I was like, "What the heck?" Like,
he was like, "I'm just gonna be honest with you all. Stop picking me for the win. You're gonna be disappointed." Yeah. All right. So looking at this field, you're gonna have plenty of people, hopefully, to run with. Where do you think because you've run this course like before, your first big decision is gonna come in this race?
Hopefully around 18. I hope there's somebody I'm running with who just decides to start moving. Mm-hmm. Like more like 30K, because I feel like usually running with the Africans and they make the move at 30K, not 18. But metric system, imperial system, just different. But I hope there's somebody. I rewatched the race last year and it seemed like John Career made his move at about 31K or 32K, and I hope that's where I make my move. It's more so not as a reactionary move, but like I'm kind of in my mind, just as I've done, the little visualization I have. It's like I want to be making a move somewhere between 30 and 35K, and I'm hoping I'm with somebody at that time.
What sticks out to you about the way John Career is able to close these marathons? Because you saw it firsthand, like experiencing it in Boston, but then now you just rewatched last year's race, and like he just does have that top end speed in a marathon. Yeah,
and it's. At Boston, what sticks out to me is his last mile. He did not look good, and like. That what sticks out to me about that is, okay, if I was focused on it, I think me and my pack could have caught him if I pushed like early, like mile 22. And so that kind of sticks out to me as like that was kind of what I tried to work on at Boulder because of that, realizing that later on. But also like at Chicago last year, he just looked phenomenal. Like he looked pretty fried the last mile. He looked so tired. But he just was like still running really, really fast. He was like 4:30s or something like that. And it was like, dang, this like I think he's gonna be hard to beat for whoever's up there if he races how he did last year at Chicago. But I do think, his ability to change gears is pretty incredible. Like not a lot of people can start running 4:30s for like 10K in the middle of a marathon, or even like not very many people can run 4:20 for just a mile like he did at Boston after heartbreak. Yeah. So it's
just got to hang with him till 20. Hang with him at 25 and maybe hope that he's tying up as much at 26. But that's not. But it's easier said than done.
Yeah. And hope you don't explode. Like that's the biggest thing. Like for a guy like John, you just gotta hope you don't explode yourself.
When you were, comparing yourself to yourself, I mean, it's easy because it's all on your Strava, but did you ever get curious and check John Career Strava? Because it's public, right?
Yeah. I've checked his Strava in the past. He went dark for a while.
Okay.
At least for the last time I looked him up, he had a few weeks of nothing. I looked at his before Boston and a little bit after, and I thought it was his Strava was pretty interesting.
What sticks out to you?
What sticks out is mainly the biggest thing is his easy doubles. He'll go out for an hour easy double and go 10K. So he'll be there in 9:30 something, 9:40 something pace for an hour, and then that'll be his double. And I'm dang, that's a long time to be out there to only get 6 miles.
The opposite of you, where it's like, all right, you're gonna
Yeah,
just run 6:30 for your 6 miles.
right, right. And in a way that like that I've kind of taken something from that and just been like I'm gonna go I go a little like that's one of the big differences with this build. I've gone a little bit easier on some of my easy days, and I don't know. We'll see if it works out or if it doesn't. But it is interesting. Like that was probably the biggest takeaway. The next big thing was his incredible. Like he did some tempos that are like it's like 4:30 pace for 15K or 9.3 miles, and I was like, that's wild to do not in a race effort, especially in Kenya on like some dirt road that's at like 7,000, 8,000 feet. Like for
Yeah, it's
me at that point, I'm like, dude, might as well go like to sea level run a race and pick up some like good money, you know?
when you said before just that like in this buildup, there were a couple races that you wish you could have fit in, but they're too close to Chicago or they just didn't work out. What were they?
Um, I didn't know about the Buenos Aires half. I think that would have been a good one for me. I just wanted to run a fast half again. I know 20K it's the same thing, and if I held my pace, I'd run pretty close to my record, especially with how fast I was closing. But I wanted to run a half, and I wanted to run one with competition that was like better than me. Like not just like the guys I ran with at 20K were actually like pretty close to me. I didn't break away from Hillary till like just less than a mile to go, so it wasn't like I was that much better than him. But I think we're comparable, and I wanted to run a half marathon with guys better than me because I did that with the New York City half with Kipchumba, and I think that was a great way to like relearn. Okay, this is what you do when you're really hurting. This is how you match moves. This is like the type of things you need to expect when you're in a competitive race. And so I just didn't think about Buenos Aires until after, and then I wanted to do Copenhagen, but then after Coach and I talked, he was actually like, "Yeah, if you really want to do it, like let's sign you up." But then with Copenhagen, I was just kind of the more I thought about it, I was like, "Oh, that's too close to race day." And then I told that to Coach, and he's like, "Yeah, that's what I was thinking too." But I wanted you to come to that realization on your own. And
There you
so,
go.
yeah, it was too close to race day with the travel. If it was just 4 weeks out and it was, a couple states away, I would do it. But being international, it was like you're gonna lose like at least one long run, and you're gonna lose like maybe 2 workouts just because it's so far away, and you're gonna recover from jet lag. So.
I don't want the takeaway from people to be as simple as like, oh, like Connor thinks that if he would have run a half marathon, he would have broke his own record in this build-up. But is that really aligned with your thinking?
Yeah, I think I was in better shape in the spring to break the record. Like at Houston, I finished feeling like I had a couple miles left in me. Yeah, I wish I could have said that after winning, but you don't always feel that way at the end. But like I really felt like I finished that race and I had another mile or two in me at about 4:30 pace. And then New York was just a tough course.
Mm-hmm.
It was humid and definitely not paced well. That might have been, my fault, but it was a lot of moves were there, a lot of surging. It wasn't a race to run fast, and I ran even faster than I did in Houston. And so in my mind, yeah, I think I could have ran faster this build, but I also think I could have ran faster last build.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see. You'll run another half. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um,
Hopefully, I still have the record when I run another half. You never know what other good guys are going to come up and push that record down.
all right. So as we kind of wrap up a little bit, where are your A, B, C tiered goals for Sunday that would like make for a successful weekend for you? I mean, to come away with the win would be incredible,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
But then just sort of like realistically, like where are your success markers for this one?
Oh man, that's hard. I think Yeah, I definitely think the record is up there. I don't want to say too much more other than that, but yeah, the record's just kind of the big one. My other goals, I'm going to keep them in here, and maybe not let them be too public. But I've been pretty public about my one goal. But yeah, my other time goals and my other place goals, I'm just going to keep in my mind.
Can we get them next week when we do this podcast to recap
Yeah,
Chicago?
yeah, let's do it
All right.
then.
Perfect. All right, Connor. Well, wishing you all the best of luck this upcoming weekend in Chicago. Unfortunately, I can't make it. I've got another wedding to go to
Man,
here in
year
New
of
York
weddings for
City.
you.
Yeah, well, this is the last one. 6 of 6 for 2020, 2025. I've already got 4, I think, on the calendar for 2026. But yeah, that's just what happens when you have a lot of friends, I guess.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I'm gonna have to miss it in person. So, but I'm still rooting for you. I'll be tuned in and watching. The wedding's on Saturday, so like technically I could try and find a red eye flight.
oh, that
It
sounds
would just be
terrible.
yeah, it would be insane. So I have to miss New York this year, but I mean Chicago this year, but I'll be in New York and then beyond that. But appreciate you. Good luck, and can't wait to unpack it all next week.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.